I noticed something rather odd this week. There were two separate instances where the media just absolutely lost their shit across the board. Now, normally I'm used to seeing one channel's worth of media figures do something stupid or crazy, but this was straight up paranoia levels across the entire spectrum of media. That's something you don't see very often, just happening once in a week, let alone two separate events. Now, the first one, and I'm pretty sure that most people heard about this, Elon Musk was talking about how the media just was not trustworthy at all. How he was considering creating a sort of a ratings website where you rate and judge and look at the trustworthiness of a station, a particular reporter, whatever, uh, based on user scores and just aggregating it all together so that you get an idea of what this person, what the station, what the channel, site, whatever they're like. And the media lost their fucking minds. You know, it's really weird. Normally, the media is very anti free speech, which you would think kind of goes against their business model. But here, they were complaining that someone creating a review website was against free speech. What? And just so many certified journalists on Twitter confirmed these are actual journalists, well, journalists, just went after Musk, saying how he was a garbage person, he was a piece of shit. There were some media figures that actually put out something like a bounty on his head. They were saying that they would pay for any kind of story that anyone had that they could use to smear Musk, like if he had ever sexually assaulted anyone, if he had ever done anything improper. They were looking for shit as a way to try and get back at him for Musk saying, you know, we need accountability in the media. Oh, the horror. There was even at one point there was a back and forth between Musk and I don't know if it was a person or a journalist. I forget uh, where they were talking about business interests and the money making system of media and all that kind of stuff. And in response to a question about, well, with those people holding things accountable, what's to stop big corporations from just abusing that? And Musk responded, who do you think owns the media? And immediately, the media figures took that one single tweet out of context, took it away from everything else, and went, see, Musk is an anti-Semite. He's blaming the Jews. Musk says corporations own the media, and your immediate response, because of the way he phrases it, is, he's saying the Jews. Remind me again exactly who is the anti-Semite here? And look, I know that the media weren't being anti-Semitic in this case. They were just trying to smear Musk. And I get it. People have done that before, the whole Jews rule the media kind of thing. Musk wasn't. And the fact that they tried to make it seem like he did shows how desperate and scared they are. They have gone full paranoia levels because they know that if a thing like this actually existed on a broad scale, then the media, or at least the journalists that exist right now, would be fucked. Then, on a smaller scale, in gaming media circles, you had Valve saying that unless it was illegal or trolling, they would not take anything off of Steam. No matter how controversial, no matter how offensive, no matter how disturbing or upsetting, they would not remove it anymore. Because there have been several of those kind of controversies that have happened, particularly with games like Hatred, and it's just happened so often now that Valve finally had to take a stance, and they decided, okay, we're going to allow these on. If you don't like them, don't buy them. It's as simple as that. And the gaming media absolutely lost it. So many gaming journalists, again, journalists, came out and said that this was horrible, that this would just be incredibly offensive to anyone using Steam, that this would open them up to all sorts of legal issues because there's so many things that are made on Steam just to offend people and all this kind of stuff. And you could tell that this really upset them. And I had to mull it over in my head a couple days. Why the fuck is the gaming media, the people that are supposed to be there for us, the consumers, to help us, why are they upset that we, as the public, now have more choices and more options for ourselves? And it hit me, because the gaming media doesn't want that. They fear consumers having any kind of power in their own hands, because that is what the gaming media in its current form exists as. The ones to tell us what to do, to tell us what to think. If we start thinking on our own, well, goddamn, they've lost it. And there is no reason for them to be there. So they have to hold on to what they have, or they just lose their job, in a sense. The one point that I saw that really baffled me, though, from all of that, and this one's sort of a little side tangent thing, the idea that because something was on your store, that means you endorsed it. Quick question for anyone that feels that. Mein Kampf is being sold on Amazon. Does that mean that Amazon endorses Mein Kampf? I believe 99% of sane people would say no, they just sell it. eBay sells a lot of collectible Nazi paraphernalia, Civil War paraphernalia, what have you. Does that mean that they endorse Nazis, slavery, whatever? No. They just sell it. That's it. Just because something is on your store, this goes for internet stores specifically. If something is on your store, that doesn't mean that you yourself like it. You're just selling it, or it's on there to be sold. Because when you start deciding what can and cannot be on your store, that goes a long way, because eventually, oh, well, you said that this couldn't be on your store, why is this on your store, etc., 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 until nothing's left. You can rationalize and justify anything being removed then, if you start justifying, well, this was offensive, so now I have to remove this, and so on. So I don't really get that argument. It's a feel-good argument, is what it is. And if you don't stop and think about it for 10 seconds, it sounds good. But then when you do stop and think about it, you realize, no, it doesn't quite work like that. Oh, but someone could see these, and then they'd be offended, or they might get upset, or it might trigger them. So, I'm sorry that something happened to you and you have become affected by a video game, basically. Welcome to living in the real world. The real world cannot be sanitized to a level where nothing will ever upset you, where nothing will ever offend you. Eventually, you're going to see something somewhere, and you just have to deal with it. I know that sounds harsh, but that's reality. And it would be really beneficial to you if you came back to reality. Back to my main overall point on this. It's been so bizarre seeing both the regular media and the gaming media in the same week just absolutely lose it. And I think that this, I've said this before, sure, but I honestly do think that this may be a sign that they realize they're on the way out and they are scared shitless. YouTubers, just random schmucks on Twitter, what have you. People don't believe the media anymore. They believe folks. And I still believe that a media should exist. We should have a way of getting news and information and all that. But in its current form, the media has just lost it, and it really does need to be fixed or replaced or whatever. And they seem to think that something is happening as well, so that may be a good sign that something could happen here in the next little while. Let's hope. Man, this was a giant circle to nowhere. My content in a nutshell. This has been Math Machine rambling about the media going forward mode. Peace out.